We're not financial advisors, but we're well versed on how to buy property.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways that you can pick up a property for a little bit of money, relative to what it would cost you to buy, what you would think would cost you to buy a property.
Yeah. When I first started, I had that assumption too, that you need to have all this money saved up, 20% down. It's like, dude, it's going to take me forever working my job to save up money to buy my first piece of real estate. And I learned a great thing called wholesaling, man. Assignment of contract. I built up my knowledge and my capital quickly. And I just rolled that into buying properties one at a time, man.
Bro, me being an investor, I thought you needed to have a ton of capital to make a move. It turns out you don't.
Did it require a lot of capital, like your other businesses, like print company, all that good stuff?
Every business requires capital.
Front-end capital.
Like every business that I'm involved with, more or less requires either sweat equity or capital in the beginning.
Right.
Real estate is different. Like there's creative vehicles, creative outlets in real estate that you wouldn't think about. There's a lot of creativity today in the funding side of things that I wasn't aware of, if I'm being quite frank.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's not something that I was aware of, 15 years ago, 14 years ago. When I first started, we didn't know, there wasn't a lot of hard money lenders that I knew about.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they existed. Like, I don't think they didn't exist. I think that they were not, like, you got to remember YouTube, these gurus, these mentors, these programs, these were not like, it wasn't well established as it is now.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. So, early on, it was buy the property, especially distressed property, under 100,000, you were buying it cash.
Yeah.
If you had a realtor that didn't really know anything about investing, they would just tell you it's 50 grand. You got to have the 50 grand.
Right.
They didn't really know about seller finance. They didn't really know about all of these vehicles, all of these funding vehicles that exist today that didn't exist years ago.
Very interesting.
So I think this episode is about addressing the elephant in the room when you're investing.
Ooh.
And the elephant in the room when you're investing is, I don't have the money. I don't have the capital. I don't have it.
That means I can't do it.
That means I can't do it. That's not true. That means you have to be creative. You have to be flexible. You gotta
work, bro.
You gotta acquire the thing that you don't really have is not money. You just don't have the information. And once you get the information and you know how to use the information, all of a sudden, things that seemed impossible are no longer impossible. So, with that being said,
let's talk about the deal we just did this week. All three of us here in this room.
Bro.
What a deal.
Slappy. Okay. Certified slap.
We're talking about the first commandment based off this deal.
This is something that you got to tip your hat at.
Yeah.
Is that kind of, the deal was not like the biggest deal we ever did, to be honest.
The mechanics, though.
It's the mechanics. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's artistic. The deal's so well crafted. I'm so proud of it.
Run us through it, man.
All right. So we get a lead on a client that wants to sell a property. He's got a lot of back taxes.
Mm-hmm. What area?
Camden.
Right. Camden
City. So he's got these back taxes and he's pressed. Like he's a motivated seller. So him being a motivated seller, there was an urgency to sell that property. So I pull up to the property. I inspected it myself. I drove over there. I inspected the property. I meet the guy. Personality wise, the guy checked off all I liked the guy. He had a beautiful family. He had the right personality. I've never done a deal like this because I've always been hesitant to keep a tenant in a property after purchasing.